Wealth isn't a mere accident, it's something carefully constructed, nurtured, and preserved over time, passed down from one generation to the next. While the newly wealthy might boast about their fast cars, risky cryptocurrency bets, and the thrill of high-stakes startups, those with long-standing wealth play a very different game. Their approach is more calculated, measured, and, above all, designed for lasting impact across centuries. Now, imagine if the world's wealthiest families, those whose names rarely make it into the tabloids, let you in on the secrets that allow them to not only maintain but grow their fortunes year after year, decade after decade. The truth is, the richest families on earth don't owe their success to luck, and it certainly isn't the result of winning the lottery. It's about buying the right things at precisely the right time, holding onto them, and letting them appreciate over time. Their wealth strategy is timeless, centered around acquiring assets that will continue to gain value long after the initial purchase. Before we dive deeper into how these families manage their wealth, make sure you're subscribed to our channel. You're about to get a rare glimpse into the financial strategies of dynasties that have controlled vast fortunes for centuries. This isn't a quick fix guide to wealth, but rather an inside look at the moves that keep their fortunes secure for generations to come. As we explore these guarded financial secrets, it's important to understand that the first rule of wealth for old money families is simple: they don't chase trends. They buy time. While the newly wealthy might jump from one hot trend to another, hoping to cash in on fleeting opportunities, the established families know that true wealth is built slowly, over generations. For centuries, iconic families like the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, and Vanderbilts have understood one central truth: the world moves in cycles, but time itself rewards those who own tangible assets with enduring value. They've never been swayed by the latest shiny object in the market. Instead, they've invested in things that remain relevant, regardless of short-term fluctuations. While others gamble on hot stocks or digital assets, old money remains focused on permanence. Their questions are simple, yet profound. What can my family own today that will still be valuable a century from now? This mindset shapes their investments. They acquire things that not only hold value but quietly increase in worth over time. Take real estate, for example. If there's one asset class that defines old money, it's property. But not just any property, land and buildings in locations that can't be replicated. Think of prime Manhattan real estate, sprawling estates in the countryside, or centuries-old vineyards in France. These aren't just properties, they're exclusive monopolies. Owning prime real estate means owning something that can never be duplicated. There can't be another Fifth Avenue block or another Bordeaux vineyard producing the same quality wine. Take the Duke of Westminster's family, which controls nearly 300 acres of prime London land that has been passed down for generations. This is wealth that doesn't disappear when markets crash. It compounds as cities expand, and demand for rare locations only grows. Old money doesn't just buy land for the sake of owning it, they buy locations with a legacy. They understand the inherent value of scarcity, whether it's a historic downtown district, a beachfront estate, or a heritage property. These places not only gain prestige over time, they also generate steady income through rents from rental apartments, commercial buildings, and hotels. But here's the real secret: old money doesn't sell their properties. Instead, they pass them down, creating a generational anchor that appreciates over time while also generating consistent income. This strategy preserves wealth and grows it steadily, without the need for frequent sales or risky maneuvers. Another key investment strategy for old money families is land, specifically farmland. The truth is, people will always need food, and owning land that produces food means controlling an essential resource. Historically, families like the Rothschilds and the Mellons have invested in agricultural land, seeing its value grow with time. Farmland isn't just a safe bet, it's a reliable generator of cash flow, from crops to cattle to vineyards. It also serves as a hedge against inflation, as food prices tend to rise with demand. More importantly, it has intrinsic value. Farmland is finite, and as the global population grows, the value of that land only appreciates. Today, billionaires like Bill Gates and Ted Turner are following in the footsteps of old money families, buying up vast tracts of agricultural land across the US. While this may seem like a new trend, it's actually an old strategy that stood the test of time. While tech investments can crash and currencies can inflate, the value of land, especially farmland, remains resilient. It's a timeless investment, ensuring wealth for future generations. And it's not just farmland. Old money families also look to acquire rare and valuable collectibles, whether fine art, antiques, or luxury cars. The idea behind these acquisitions is simple. They're not just beautiful or interesting, they're reliable stores of wealth. A Picasso or a Monet isn't just decoration, it's an appreciating asset that often outpaces inflation and even the stock market. Art and collectibles are portable, exclusive, and often come with tax advantages. For example, the Getty family's collection of priceless art continues to be worth billions, far surpassing the original investments. It's not just art, either. Old money invests in antique furniture, rare jewelry, heirloom-quality diamonds, and even iconic cars. These items aren't just luxurious toys, they're financial instruments that safeguard wealth during uncertain times. The beauty of these assets lies in their ability to withstand market volatility. If the economy collapses, a priceless painting or a rare diamond could still fetch millions, anywhere in the world. These investments don't just hold value, they often serve as a form of financial insurance. Equities, stocks, are another area where old money invests, but they don't approach it the way the average investor does. Instead of jumping into the latest tech IPO or day trading for quick profits, old money buys blue-chip stocks, companies that have a proven track record of steady growth and profitability over decades. Brands like Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, and Procter & Gamble are staples in these portfolios. Here's the critical difference. Old money doesn't aim to flip stocks for quick profits. They buy these stocks with the intention of holding them forever. They rely on dividends, regular payouts from these established companies, as a source of passive income. Over time, these dividends accumulate, and when compounded across generations, they turn modest investments into vast family fortunes. It's not uncommon for old money families to have trusts set up to manage their wealth, ensuring future generations benefit from these long-term investments without needing to sell off core assets. This is a key part of the strategy. Invest in things that provide consistent returns over time and pass them down, rather than cashing them in for short-term gains. Finally, old money doesn't just buy shares in companies, they often buy the companies themselves. By investing in private equity, they can take control of businesses, generating reliable cash flow from operations. These businesses might not always be glamorous or in the spotlight, but they have one thing in common: they generate consistent profits, year after year. When you examine old money wealth, the pattern becomes clear. They invest in assets that provide stability, longevity, and consistent returns. Whether it's real estate, farmland, rare collectibles, or blue chip stocks, the wealth they build isn't about quick wins. It's about securing financial prosperity for generations to come. Old money is built on long-term thinking, patience, and strategic acquisitions. The rich don't just get rich, they stay rich. And they do so by focusing on the things that truly matter, assets that will endure long after they're gone. Think about industries that are often overlooked but quietly build dynasties. Sectors like logistics firms, utilities, manufacturing plants, and agricultural processes. These businesses may not be glamorous or flashy, but they're incredibly reliable and have a timeless ability to generate steady income. One of the biggest secrets to old money wealth is that it's often built through these so-called boring businesses. While the latest tech startup might make headlines and grab attention for a brief moment, it's these quieter businesses, those that people rely on every single day without giving them much thought, that provide long-term stability and income. Take the Mars family, for example. They built their fortune not only through their famous candy empire, but also through smart diversification into industries like pet care and food manufacturing. They control businesses that are a daily part of people's lives. When you're entrenched in industries that people can't live without, you don't need to chase the latest trend. The key takeaway here is that boring businesses are the backbone of dynastic wealth. Family-owned utilities or waste management companies don't always make the headlines, but they generate consistent revenue over decades, offering steady returns no matter what the broader market does. In contrast, the fortunes of flashy startups are often short-lived, subject to the whims of the market and the rapid rise and fall of trends. When it comes to wealth preservation, one age-old asset has stood the test of time: precious metals. When markets crash, currencies fluctuate, and political empires crumble, what remains? Gold, silver, and other precious metals. These tangible assets cannot be printed or inflated away. Historically, old money families have turned to these assets as a safe haven for wealth. Take the Rothschilds, for instance. They were involved in the gold trade long before modern banks became household names. Royal families and aristocrats have long kept gold, silver, and even gemstones in private vaults, not just as symbols of wealth and power but also as secure stores of value. This tradition of safeguarding wealth through precious metals continues today. Many dynastic families still keep private reserves of gold, bullion, rare coins, and gemstones, which can be passed down from one generation to the next. Why? Because gold and precious metals hold universal value. When inflation erodes the buying power of paper currencies, gold often increases in value. During times of war or political instability, owning portable wealth like gold can be a matter of survival. But old money doesn't just buy gold, they also invest in natural resources. Oil, gas, timber, and mineral rights are all assets that old money families acquired to solidify their wealth. By owning natural resources, these families control the future. For example, the Oppenheimers of South Africa amassed wealth through the Diamond Empire. The Koch family built a vast fortune by turning oil refining into an empire. And European aristocrats quietly own enormous tracts of forests, making profits from timber while preserving the land for future generations. This isn't just about luxury, it's about power. When you own essential resources like oil, gas, or timber, you don't just have wealth, you have control over the future. But here's the thing most people don't see: it's not just about buying the right assets, it's about protecting them. Old money families employ strategies that shield their wealth from erosion. This is where trusts and family foundations come in. Trusts act like invisible fortresses that protect family wealth from things like taxes, lawsuits, and even reckless heirs. Through the use of trusts, family businesses, real estate holdings, and other assets are sheltered from outside interference, ensuring that even if one generation spends frivolously or makes poor financial decisions, the core wealth remains intact. Family foundations take this a step further. On the surface, they may appear to be purely charitable organizations, but they also serve a deeper purpose, acting as tax shields while preserving wealth for the family. Old money families also use these foundations to exert influence. By funding hospitals, universities, and museums, they not only build a lasting legacy but also secure long-term power in society. These foundations act as vehicles to ensure that the family's influence continues to shape the world for generations to come. The Ford Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, and the Carnegie Endowment are examples of this long-term thinking at work. These institutions weren't just philanthropic gestures, they were carefully designed strategies for wealth preservation and social influence. Generosity and strategy go hand in hand for old money families. Their wealth isn't just about acquiring assets, it's about shaping society and ensuring that their wealth continues to grow over the long term. But old money doesn't keep all their wealth in one place. They understand the value of diversification, especially when it comes to safeguarding their fortunes from outside risks. That's why many old money families spread their wealth across offshore havens, places like Switzerland, Luxembourg, Monaco, the Cayman Islands, and Singapore. Why? Because it offers them privacy, tax advantages, and the ability to shield their fortunes from government scrutiny. Offshore wealth isn't a modern trick, it's been used for centuries. Aristocrats have long moved their gold, jewels, and even entire estates offshore to protect them during wars and political unrest. The Rothschilds, for example, set up banking operations in multiple countries to ensure that no single government could seize their assets. To many outsiders, offshore accounts may seem shady, but for dynastic families, it's a smart form of financial insurance. If one country collapses or goes through political upheaval, the family fortune is protected by its global reach. This allows wealth to survive, and even thrive, across borders, regardless of what happens in any one country. But perhaps one of the most underappreciated strategies for building and preserving wealth is investing in people. Old money families understand that the right education, connections, and networks are just as important as owning land or stocks. They don't just send their children to school, they carefully curate their educational experiences, enrolling them in elite institutions like boarding schools in Switzerland or universities like the Ivy League or Oxbridge. The point isn't just to gain knowledge, it's to create a network of influential contacts. Old money families understand that who you know can be just as important as what you own. By embedding their children into these powerful circles, they set them up for opportunities that span generations. A Rockefeller heir doesn't just inherit wealth, they inherit a network of CEOs, bankers, and policymakers. A European aristocrat doesn't just inherit land, they inherit connections to royalty and global leaders. These networks can often generate more wealth and influence than any single asset could. At the core of old money philosophy is patience. While new money tends to focus on quick flips and instant results, old money families think in terms of decades, if not centuries. They invest in things that outlast trends, governments, and even entire currencies. Their portfolios might look boring to outsiders: land, real estate, gold, stocks with dividends, trusts, but it's in this simplicity that their brilliance lies. Boring is resilient. and resilience builds dynasties. The final secret to understanding old money is this: they rarely sell. They buy to hold. For most investors, the dream is to cash out at the right time, securing a huge profit. But old money doesn't view assets as things to sell for quick gain. They see them as anchors of security. The land stays in the family. The art remains in private collections. The businesses keep generating cash flow. And the wealth continues to grow, silently, in the background. The goal for old money isn't to exit the game. It's to ensure continuity. While new money chases speed, old money wins with slowness. While others brag about short-term gains, old money stays silent. And while most fortunes dissipate within 3 generations, old money endures, unshaken, unchallenged, and unstoppable. So, as we look at the wealth strategies of these dynasties, we see a clear pattern. It's not about flash, it's about patience, strategy, and resilience. These families understand that the true power of wealth lies in its ability to survive, adapt, and grow over time. Want to know more about the financial strategies that ensure generational wealth? Keep watching our videos to uncover more secrets that the world's wealthiest families don't want you to know.